Let's open, if you guys have your books, go ahead and open up to page 90. We're going to talk about this. Page 90.
Yeah, I forgot my book on my bedroom floor.
That's okay. You want to look at this one?
Yes, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Come tell me guys.
Alright, so page 90. Let's check it out. So again, this is probably the most important part of the book, right? We talked about this a lot of times. Every time I'm in this class, I think I talk about this. It's so important because if you know how to use this chart, you can speak Korean. You really can. You can at least form basic sentences, okay? So let's look at some examples. Let's see if we remember how to do this. Let's take, again, we'll use mokda. This is kind of one of the most important words that we learn. Super important word. What does this mean?
Eat.
Okay, good. To eat. Okay, so to eat. So we got to eat. So how would we conjugate this into the basic form that we've learned? How do we do that?
Rid of the dot.
Okay, first step. First step is always remove the dot. Okay, so we got the dot. Mok. Okay, the dot is gone. Okay.
Now there's the thing.
So we got rid of the dot, and what do we do next? What do we? What two pieces of information do we need to know?
If it has a pachim.
If it has a pachim, okay, and
What the final vowel is?
what the final vowel is. Perfect. So do we have a pachim?
Yes.
Yes, pachim is that thing that's on the bottom. Remember, thing that's on the bottom, and it does have something on the bottom. So we have a pachim, and the final vowel is
Oh.
all. Right? Okay, so we know both those pieces of information. Now that we know that, we can solve for this problem, okay? So, we know what the pachim is, we know it's all. So, if we follow our chart there and we look at both of them, what does that mean? What does it say that we do?
And all.
And all, okay? Good. So, now we're done. We've actually made a sentence, or very simple sentence we've made, but yes, it is a sentence nonetheless. So, mogul, all right? That means eat. Okay. Now, if we want to be more polite, we can add the yo to this. Okay. This is just the middle form, which we'll want to try to be polite. So it's good to add the yo there. Okay. Mogoyo. Mogoyo. Okay. Good. Let's try a different one. Let's try a little bit more difficult one. Sida. Okay. Sida. What is sida?
Is that cheap? No.
Not cheap. What does sida mean? It has a couple meanings, actually. Nope.
It's missing that.
Nope. Yep, it's missing that right? So it's not cheap. This has a couple meanings. I'll give you a couple of them. The first one is to write. The next one is to use. Okay. There's some more, but these two are the big ones, okay? To write, to use, okay? All right. How would we conjugate this?
Drop the dot.
Drop the da. Da is gone, okay? So we just have s. Okay? Now, do we have a pachim?
No.
We do not have a pachim down here. There's nothing down here, right? So no pachim. What's the vowel?
Oh.
Right? This gut slash, I call it the gut slash. Alright? We have the gut slash. That's how I remember it. That's how I remember it. It's the gut slash. Okay? We have the gut slash, so we have that. Okay, so no pachim and the gut slash. So what do?
Oh.
We
Have
do
to
what?
look to the previous vowel. But
Okay,
there
there is no
one.
previous vowel though, right? I mean, this is it. This is all we got, right? So we only have this, so this is the last vowel. This is the previous vowel, right? Okay, so what do we add?
Oh.
O, okay. So I add O. Is that right?
Hold on. Change the final. Wait, then we have to change that vowel to O.
Ah, good, good. So be careful, right? You're changing it. You're changing the final vowel to this, okay? You're not gonna keep this one, you need to change the final vowel. Alright, so it's gonna be so. Okay? Okay, so you wind up with this. So. So what does that mean? What does this sentence mean right here?
I write.
Alright, you right, I use.
Write, yeah, write, or use, right? Use it, write. Okay. And if I wanted to make it a little more polite, I could put a U at the end, okay? Soil. Okay, soil. Okay? Good. Any questions on that? Good. Okay, let's try one more. Okay. What does this word mean? Kind of looks like kind of a hard word, doesn't it?
To read.
Yep, this one means to read. Okay. To read. Okay. How do we pronounce this word?
Ikta.
Say it again.
Ikta.
All right. So you're going to find very often on a lot of these kind of more complex words, we have these four different little characters like this. Okay. A lot of times, especially if there is a real in this position right here, this is going to get washed out. Okay. It's going to get washed out. For example, how do I pronounce this word?
Sam.
Yeah, Sam. It's not really a weird in there, isn't it? It's not Sam. You said that, they look at you weird. No, I say Sam. Okay, Sam. So you're almost acting like this doesn't exist. Okay, there's quite a few words where that ends up being the case. These are two.
And what does that
ones.
mean?
What's that?
What was that one?
So this one means life. This means life. But some of these words, occasionally you'll notice if they're in this position, that does get washed out. So this is pronounced not irikta. There could be a little bit of an R in there, it's okay. But it's more like ikta, right? Ikta. Okay? You go sit home, right? I read it. What's conjugated? Okay? What is, do we have a punching?
No.
Sure do. Do we have a vowel?
No.
We do. What's the vowel?
E.
E. Okay, so what do we add?
O.
O. And then again, we can add a O if we want to be a little bit more polite, which we should try. Okay, good. Any questions with that? Does that make sense?
No.
Everyone's on the same page with that? Okay. Can I erase this?
No.
Okay, so now what I want to do is to try and make a few simple sentences, okay, using what we've learned, and we're going to build on some things, okay? So, I want you guys to be able to say a few things, like say when you're talking to someone in Korean, how do you say I can do something, or I can this, or I can that. That's a really important thing that you want to say, right? We say it all the time in English. How do you say it in Korean?
할 수 있습니다.
Okay, so so good, so or 수 있다. Okay? This is the form that means can, basically. Can do something, right? Okay, this is the way that we say that in Korean. 수 있다. Okay. Now, you'll notice here at the end we have another da. Okay? I haven't conjugated this yet. The reason I haven't conjugated yet is that I want you guys to remember that this is just a grammar form, okay? I can add more stuff to the end of this if I want to. If I want to make a more complex sentence, then I can add something to the end of this. This doesn't have to end our sentence, right? I don't have to say, I can run. Okay, that's it, right? I can say that, but I can say, I can run, but I don't want to. Right? There's ways that I can add more onto this sentence. So there's a possibility here that we can drop this da and treat it like it is just one big word, right? Like it's another one of our da words. And then we can just add to that, conjugate to that. Okay, and we'll do that in a minute. But first, let's just focus on making a simple sentence with this, okay? So let's say, I want to say, I can read. Okay? I can read. So in English, okay, pretty simple sentence, right? Okay. So we have our subject right here, subject. What is the object?
You, I. Or is the reading?
Is there one? Not really.
If you want to have the reading, what you can do.
Subject or verb, really. There's not, now if I said I can read a book,
Then the book would
yeah,
be.
the book would be the object, sure. In this case, it's not really one, okay? I can read. All right. So, how do we make this sentence? Well, first off, we're always going to start the subject with, the sentence with the subject, correct? So what is the subject? I, and I would be in Korean?
저는.
저는, good. 저는.
And would you use nega?
You would use nega if you were using panmal.
Oh, okay. So that's less.
But we're not going to use panmal in here because we're trying to learn how to just be more
Polite.
normal, casual speaking. Or not casual, but more
Polite.
everyday language. Okay. So, 저는. Okay, what comes next?
Read.
Read, right? So, read. What's the verb for read? Okay, yeah. Yep. Okay, so now, ita. Okay, you know that that's the verb that we're using. So I read. So we have both of these together now. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to actually make this into a sentence, right? We know what our grammar is here, right? So this is our grammar form that we want to use. Okay. We know that we want to say I can do something. So in order to utilize this, we're going to add this directly to your verb stem. Okay. So this verb stem is what this all gets attached to. Okay. So what is the verb stem here? Right? So, first thing we're going to get rid of the da, okay? Now, I have this here, I have this here, and I got a slash and an alright? How do I know which one I'm going to use?
Whether there's a budget.
Correct. One of these is going to be used if there is no padchim, and one of them will be used if there is a padchim in the word, right? Okay? So, is there a padchim? Sure is. Padchim right here. Okay? So, we are going to use in that case. This is without, this is with. Okay? This is with. Okay. So, we add to it. Su ita. Okay? Am I done? I'm not done, right? We still have this, we just left this in an unconjugated form, right? We just left it how it is. We don't want to do that. That doesn't make sense in the way it is written right now. Okay? So what would we do? How would we conjugate this?
Do you drop that back?
Drop the da, just like we always did, right? Like we always do. Drop the da.
There's a padchim.
Follow our basic rules, just like we always do, every time. Okay?
So there's a budget.
There's a padchim.
E.
And we have E, okay?
Oh, so it's O.
So according to the rules, it becomes O,
Oh, oh,
and
yeah.
then we can add a yo
Oh, yeah.
to make it a little more polite.
Mm.
Okay?
Mm.
Good.
And say the whole sentence, would you?
So now it becomes 저는 읽을 수 있어요. 저는 읽을 수 있어요.
Slow down.
Sweet sale.
저는
저는
읽을 수 있어요.
읽을 수 있어요.
Yep.
읽을
Just
수
like-
있어요.
Okay. Now,
Thank you.
let's suppose for a moment
You can't read.
that I wanted to make this sentence maybe a little bit more complex. Let's say that I can read, but I'm tired. Okay? So already what we've done in this sentence, we've done something kind of interesting, right? We started with the word, we started with our verb here, right? This is our verb. And then we added a grammar form to it, right? We added this whole grammar form here to it. This whole thing is our grammar form that means can do, right? Okay. Now, from this point, if we want to add more to it, just stacking things on top of each other, kind of, right, in a way. All right? So, let me give you guys an example. But, the way to do, there's several different meanings, but in this particular way, you can do it, you can use 지만. 지만. And actually, there's no space, I'm sorry. 지만. Okay? This means but. Okay? And this is added directly to your verb stem. Okay? So if you want to say but, okay? Say verb stem plus 지만. That means but. Okay? So we just stacked it right on the end. Right? We had our da form, we got rid of the da form, we stacked it right on this. So we're treating this whole thing basically as the verb stem, as this new verb stem, right? You can think of it as one big verb, if you wanted to. Okay? Alright. Tired. What's the word for tired? You know? I know you got it in there somewhere.
It is. I'm just like, dang, I think it's in my
I
other
know it's there
book.
somewhere.
I did.
Got about
Oh, it's the blue
30
one.
pages there.
It's
I know
my
you
blue
got it
one. It's
somewhere.
my blue notes, I think, because you taught us that.
Gotta memorize them though, right?
There's a lot to memorize, sir, but I'm trying. I'm trying. I have like
You're
3
doing good.
books. Thank you. Okay. How should I? Headline, understanding, I might be going too fast, but I won't take too much. All of these things. Okay, it's gonna take me like 10 minutes to find it
That's
out.
okay. You can do like that.
Oh, yeah.
피곤하다. 피곤하다. There is 피곤하다. Okay? So, 피곤하다. So, let's see if we can make this into regular sentence, right? So, but I'm tired. Okay? So, we already got the first part. 저는 읽을 수 있지만 피곤하다. Okay. You can't leave it in this form, right? It doesn't work like that. This is just a dictionary form. We need to conjugate it. So what do? First step. Everybody knows?
Drop the budget.
Drop the da. Da's gone.
And drop the door.
Don't need it. Okay? What do we have? We have a hada verb. Or in this case, it's an adjective.
Hey.
but it's gonna follow the same rules, okay? Hada, so hada always becomes
Hey.
hey, right? That is the rule, that's the easiest rule. Hada becomes hada, okay? And we're done. Now, we can add yo to that again. Make it more polite if we want to, okay? That's it. So as you can see here, we did this whole thing, and how many times did we do conjugations?
3.
3 different times, right? We did 3 different conjugations just to make this one sentence. I can read, but I'm tired, okay? Now, eventually, you're not gonna need to do all those in your head every time, right? If you know, like for instance this, people in Hada, right? Hada, it's always gonna be hail, okay? You just know that, right? It just happens every time. So that really doesn't take a lot of brain power. Just become hail, okay? This might take a little bit more thinking, right? But a lot of times you kind of find these patterns. Jiman, Jiman, Ha Jiman, alright? And they kind of become second nature to say, right? And they're very easy. The very good thing about this is that you don't need to change the word before it. It just adds directly to the verb stem, right? So it's very easy, okay, for something like Jiman. So basically not a lot of thought involved in those, okay? Very simple. Okay, does that make sense? Is there any questions about that? Okay, let's make some more sentences. Can I erase this?
Yes.
All right. Let's say I want to say, in English, I say, I want to go home. Okay, I want to go home. We're going to build on this sentence in a minute, okay? We're going to build on it, we're going to make it a lot more complex. Okay, so what do we have here? Let's look at the sentence, let's analyze this real quick. We have a subject, okay? What's the object?
Home.
Home, right? This is your place you're going to, so yeah, your object. Verb?
To go. To go.
Go, right? To go. Subject, verb, object. Perfect. Korean, what's the order it follows Korean?
Subject, object, verb.
Subject, object, verb, right? So we're gonna switch these two. Okay? So let's see if we can make this sentence. First thing, right off the bat, what do we need to know how to say?
Want. I want.
Want. Okay? We need to know how to say want. I want to do something. We've talked about that in this class quite a few times, so I hope you remember. Good, okay, that's the whole conjugation, sure. What is just the grammar form itself? Good. So verb stem plus goshita. Okay? Verb stem plus goshita means to want to. Okay, this is the want to form. Alright? Okay, so let's see if we can make a sentence out of this. So, first off, I. 저는. Good. Okay. 저는.
Go 싶어.
What do we say comes next?
Go 싶. Do you want that or go 싶어요?
Oh. What's our order? in the
Oh,
sentence?
home. Sorry.
Home. Good.
Check. No. Give.
집. Okay. 집. 집. Now, well, I'm not sure. We talked about this in some other classes, but we're gonna put a here. Okay. 'Cause this just means to. This is what designates we're going to a place. This is the way that we do it in Korean. Yeah.
Okay, so there's uli also sounds like a, but it's only in certain parts. Can you explain that after we do this?
This a.
No, uli, like the uli, the and the e.
Are you
Yeah.
talking about this one?
Yes, it also sounds like a.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay.
Okay. Thank
I'll remind me, and I'll put that over here. We'll talk about that in a sec. Okay. Okay. So 저는 집에 the verb, what's the verb? Go.
가다.
가다, right? 집에 가다. Okay? I'm going to leave it in this form if you want to. Okay? Now, if I just left it just like this, if I didn't change anything, I just said 저는 집에 가다. Okay? First off, it doesn't make any sense because we're not conjugated. But if I just left it just like this, what would it mean, basically?
I home go.
I home go or I go home, right? Okay? So we've left out this want to, basically. So we need to add that to this, okay? So how do we do that? Well, we've got a verb, we've got a grammar form, we've got a place to put it. So we can put it right on there, right? So how do we do it?
Drop the dog.
Drop the dot, okay? So what do we have here? What is this called?
What's your verb stem?
This is called the verb stem, perfect. So what do we add to it?
You're gonna add that other ending.
Yes, go 싶다, right?
Go shit.
Okay, so go 싶다, okay? So we have the go 싶다 there, okay? Again, we have to conjugate this, right? We're not done yet. We need to conjugate this to actually make this sentence. Okay, so how do we do that? Again, we drop the da. We would add
어요.
oyo, that's right, because remember we have a padchin and an e, so it's going to be oyo. Okay, that's what the conjugation is going to end up being. Okay, so all together, 저는 집에 가고 싶어요.
저는 집에
가고 싶어요. Perfect.
저는 집에 가고
Say
싶어요.
it again.
저는 집에 가고 싶어요.
저는 집에 가고 싶어요.
가고 싶어요.
가고
Exactly how you
싶어요.
Yes.
There's
가고 싶어요.
an error.
Okay.
저는 집에 가고
Yeah.
싶어요.
Again,
Yeah.
if we wanted to make this more complex, right? You would just go back to this part. You'd be like, okay, well I got this part. I got this much done. Right? But I'm tired. Let's go back to this same example again. Okay? I'm tired. So how do we make that sentence now? How do we make this using what we've learned? I want to go home, but I'm tired.
Drop the dog
Okay, so we drop the da.
and add 주만.
Jiman, good. We'll add Jiman directly to this.
And then add 피곤해요.
피곤해요. 피곤해요, right? Okay, and we're done, right? Good, yep. So if I want to make this whole sentence here, I would say 저는 집에 가고 싶지만 피곤해요. I want to go home, but I'm tired. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay, now, getting back to your question. This is a very interesting little character here. When this is at the beginning of words, okay, it's usually going to make a li sound. Okay, li.
Lija, chair, Lisa,
Lija.
Lija,
Right? Lija. Chair.
chair, Lisa, doctor.
Lisa, right? Yeah, doctor. Good. Okay, Lisa, doctor.
Lisa.
Now, very often if it's showing, this is also used, this character here is also used to show ownership of something. Okay, so for example, if I said, reads pen. Okay. Right, reads pen, right? It's that apostrophe.
Okay.
Okay. So I would say read a pen. Okay. When it's at the end of words like this, very often it's going to be read as a.
Okay.
Okay. A. Now, there are some situations where that is not true. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
So beginning of word is li, end of word is a.
For the most part. Again, that's not always going to be true. There are some exceptions. Don't worry about it.
that little thing underneath it. Yeah.
That is a neon. It's one of these.
Oh, so
I'm
that's
just not.
okay,
There we go. Pen.
that helps me.
Pen.
It's
Yeah.
clear.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. I
Thank you.
Make sure my writing is better here. Good. Okay. Any questions on that? Good. I'm gonna go ahead and erase this now.
Thank you for that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. All right. So we've done quite a bit of writing. Let's do some speaking. Okay.
Yay.
We've done enough writing up here. I can get up here and I can talk with, I can lecture and say 100 things, right, about this, but it's more important that we actually speak and actually try to say something. That's where we're actually gonna learn, right?
I've learned that even though we like write them down, I say them in my head a million times. When I hear them, I'm like, wait, what is that? Because then I can't hear the things I thought I heard. So,
Yep.
so-
That will always be the case. That will always be the case, 100% of the time, I promise you. You can write things down, but until you hear it, then you don't really know it. And so that happens, oh gosh, I don't know how many times it's happened to me. I wrote a word down, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know what this. And then I finally remember hearing it, asking someone and hearing it. Like, oh, okay. It just brought it to a whole different life to me, right? It was like, it's actually real.
Yeah.
Like, I can actually
Understand and hear.
understand what I've written here, right? So it makes it real. Okay? So, what I'd like to do is I'm going to ask you guys some questions in Korean, and we're going to see if we can answer them back in Korean.
It's okay if I do a voice memo.
Yeah, sure. Voice memo. Good. Okay, so I want to ask you about something that you can do. Okay, so we're going to practice using these grammar forms. You can say can, want, but, all right, the ones that we just practiced. Okay? So, okay. So, what can you do? What can you do? I want you to tell me something that you can do. Okay, this is very simple, right? Something that you can do. Anything that you can think of, I want you to tell me you can do. So, if I asked you, more means what? More 할 수 있어요. 뭐 할 수 있어요? 할 수 있다, right? 하다, alright, which means to do. Alright, so 뭐 할 수 있어요? 뭐 할 수 있어요? What can you do? Okay. Practice that one time. 뭐 할 수 있어요?
More high sales.
Good. 뭐.
Can you write that? Thank you.
More. It's kind of a fun word. More.
More high
And that's
sales.
what?
Right, I got what. So if you
Can you write the whole sentence? More high sales.
뭐 할 수 있어요? 뭐 할 수 있어요? What can you do? Okay. You'll hear this. Maybe if you interrupt somebody, say, hey. 뭐? What? Right? So, 뭐? What do
Say
you
that
want?
again. More high sales.
뭐 할 수 있어요?
More high sales. More high sales.
뭐 할 수 있어요? Okay. So if I said 뭐 할 수 있어요, I asked you 뭐 할 수 있어요, what would you say? How would you respond?
Just have it. 저는
I can, right? 저는
저는 how do you say cook? I just had it.
Okay.
요리 있어요. Oh, that's cooking.
Oh, no. Let's think about what you did right there. What did you say? Say it again.
할 수 요리 있어요.
할 수, you said 요리?
요리 있어요.
요리 있어요, is what you said?
네.
Okay, let's think about this.
So that's cooking, not cook.
Let's think about, well, let's just look at the sentence here, just so this gives you an idea of maybe what we're doing here, right? So, what is the verb in this sentence?
요리 cooking.
you have two of them in this sentence.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
So, the way that you're using this is as a noun
Oh,
in this case, but it still doesn't make, the sentence doesn't make any sense.
okay.
Because you want to add whatever verb you're going to use in this place right here, okay? This is where your verb is going to go. So in your case, the verb is 요리하다. Okay. So because it's a hada verb, right? So we're going to use that right here at the very beginning.
Oh.
Okay. So you don't need this part here. You say I can cook, right? So how do we say that? How do we say that?
So, 요리해. No, wait, hold on. Wait. I can do this. Hold on. 저는 요리해. Isn't it 요리해? Because the hada turns into hey, right? Huh?
When does it turn into hay?
Shoot.
When does it turn into hay?
There's no whatchamacallit.
You're not conjugating it. You're just adding the verb at the end. The su 있어요. So you don't have to conjugate it.
So 요리하.
Good. There you go. Good. 저는 요리할 수 있어요. Good. You see that? Okay. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. You need to add this part, right? This goes right to that verb stem, whatever verb we're talking about. And the verb in your case was cook. I can cook, right? So I can cook. 저는 요리할 수 있어요. Good. So 요리할 수 있어요. Okay. 뭐 할 수 있어요?
저는 수 있어요.
What word are you trying to say? Su?
The two double S's with the su.
쓰다. You saying this one?
Yeah, that's the one. Su.
You're doing good. You're doing good. So this was hard. This is a little harder one, right? Think about what. Okay. So 쓰다. Okay. How do we conjugate this? Using the. What comes? What comes next? How do we do this? Remember, this is just verb stem plus, right?
Yeah.
So verb stem of 쓰다 is just 쓰. And then what comes next? What do we add to this?
Do the u
Right. Where does it go?
underneath it.
Underneath. Good. Okay. Sir.
수 있어요.
Perfect. So yeah, 쓸 수 있어요, right? I can write or I can use, right? Whatever you want to try to say there. So yeah, 쓸 수 있어요. Yeah, I can write. 쓸 수 있어요. Perfect. That's exactly how you do it. Good. Does that make sense?
No.
Good. Okay. 뭐 할 수 있어요? Any word that you can think of here. Any verb.
You talking to him or me?
Either one of you. Either one of you is fine. 뭐 할 수 있어요?
Can you not erase that bottom part?
This one?
No.
So, 저는,
Okay.
이걸 있어요.
Good. So 저는 이끌 수
Read, she can read.
있어요. Good. What does it mean?
She can read.
I can read.
Yeah. I can read. Yes.
That's just what I
읽을 수 있어요.
because I wouldn't have known it.
That's okay.
있어요.
Good. Good. Perfect. 저는 읽을 수 있어요. Right? Great job. Now, if you want to think about it this way, if this helps you, you can just take this out here, right? 저는 뭐뭐뭐 을 수 있어요, right? If this helps you, if this makes it easier, yeah, go ahead and use it, right? Put your verb here. Put your verb
Oh,
stem
yeah.
here, okay? You're adding okay? That's it. That's all you gotta do. So, I can, whatever.
I can cook, I can eat, I can sleep.
So, whatever. So, how would I say, I can swim?
저는
수영하다.
저는 수영할 수 있어요? Is that right? No, cause that part.
저는
저는
할
수 있어요.
Perfect, good. 저는 수영할, you're gonna put the rear underneath here, right? So you get rid of the da. 할 수 있어요. Okay?
저는 수영할
So basically, it's gonna become this. So that will become this. This goes right here.
저는
수영할. Okay? Because this rear, that's where this one comes in right here, right? There's no padchim for 수영하다, so you put the rear right underneath, okay? Okay? Now, what if I had a padchim? We'll go back to 먹다. Okay? 목. 저는 what would it be? 목. 목을 수 있어요, right? 저는 먹을 수 있어요.
This is with the pod, right?
Yes, because this has a padchim here, so we use our one with.
Okay.
We use this one. So this is without. Okay. And this one is with. Okay. 저는 먹을 수 있어요.
So I can eat?
I can eat. Good. Good. All right. Again, I can write, I can read, I can jump, I can sleep.
Can you write down?
자다. So what would it become?
저는 there is without 찰 수 있어요? 저는
Good. There's no padchim, so it comes rear underneath. 저는 잘 수 있어요. Now, isn't it kind of interesting? Isn't it interesting how a lot of words you'll end up making like a word. If you just took this by itself, remember how I told you earlier, 잘 means well or good, right? 잘 먹어요. And if you didn't look at the context or you didn't know any of the grammar and you're just looking at it, you would just think, oh, that means well, right? But it's not, right? This means I can sleep, right? So if you're looking at books and you're just kind of looking and studying things just by like, oh, I know that word, oh, I know that word. Okay, maybe you do, maybe you see it, maybe you know it, all right? But be aware that because of the way the grammar is put together, it might not be that cut and dry, right?
Just like how bag is room and another word put together to make bag. Cause like chabang. How you say bag? Chabang.
봉투?
No, bag. It's like something bang.
가방?
Kabang. Cause like there's kabang and bang by itself means room, but
Sure.
together with something else means bag,
가방,
which is so confusing.
or you could, yeah, just like you said, 다방, do you guys know this?
No. What's that?
Probably people who watch this later on YouTube might laugh about that. Taban, this is, coffee shop. Okay, long time ago, Coffee shop. They would call this coffee shop. Okay. Nobody goes and calls this a coffee shop anymore. They're like this. Okay. This is kind of became a little different during the war times. Taban kind of became a little more risque. Maybe they would deliver you coffee and maybe something else, right, too, right? So you kind of came a little bit different connotation later on, okay? So yeah, but
So what does it mean now?
Hmm?
What does it mean now?
it still means that. It's still a place you go get coffee. It's still a coffee shop, basically. And it's not just coffee, but that was what it was most famous for, right?
Gotcha.
To go get some coffee, right? Orders enough. Anyway, you'll see these all over Korea if you go look. It's not all of them are bad, but some of them.
So it's like going to a massage and getting a happy ending type thing?
No.
Oh,
that
okay.
is-
Because I was like, you said get coffee, but something more. And I was like, was that like a massage?
No, that's a different place. That's it. All right, we good?
Yes. How would you say yes, sir, in Korean?
Yeah, you see what?
Yes, sir, in Korean.
Yes, sir.
No.
Who are you addressing?
Right now, you.
네, 선생님. If you ever go watch the kids, they go to school, they always come in, it's really fun to watch them, they'll come in, 네, 선생님. They do this kind of thing when they're like doing, whatever they have to do for this, a lot of times they have them practice, and 네, 선생님, right, whenever they're talking about things, so it's really cute, yeah, it's really cute. All right, any other questions about any of this stuff? I don't want to go on too much longer.
So many questions. So I like watch the K-dramas, right? Because I'm trying to like learn the K-dramas.
All right, cut this.
And I get confused by the K-dramas.
Good. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. More suicide. Any word that you can think of here. Any verb.
You talking to him or me?
Either one of you. Either one of you is fine. More suicide.
Can you not erase that bottom part?
This one?
No.
So, Chonun,
Okay.
Ikur, Isayo,
Good. So 저는
Chonun,
이끌 수
Read, she can read.
있어요. Good. What does it mean?
She can read.
I can read.
Yeah. I can read. Yes.
That's just what I
읽을 수 있어요.
because I wouldn't have known it.
That's okay.
Isayo.
Good. Good. Perfect. 저는 읽을 수 있어요. Right? Great job. Now, if you want to think about it this way, if this helps you, you can just take this out here, right? 저는 뭐뭐뭐 읽을 수 있어요, right? If this helps you, if this makes it easier, yeah, go ahead and use it, right? Put your verb here. Put your verb
Oh,
stem
yeah.
here. Okay, you're adding okay? That's it. That's all you gotta do. So, I can, whatever.
I can cook, I can read, I can sleep.
So, whatever. So, how would I say, I can swim?
저는
수영하다.
저는 수영
Okay, so.
수영할 수 있어요? Is that right? No, because that part.
저는
저는
할
수
수
있어요.
있어요. Perfect. Good. 저는 수영할. You're gonna put the rear underneath here, right? So you get rid of the da. 할 수 있어요. Okay.
저는 수영할
So basically, it's gonna become this. So that will become this. This goes right here.
Chon.
Su Young Har. Okay. Because this real that's where this one comes in right here, right? There's no Pachin for Su Young Hata, so you put the rear right underneath, okay? Okay. Now, what if I had a Pachin? We'll go back to Mokta. Okay? Mok. 저는 what would it be? 목 목을 수 있어요, right? 저는 목을 수 있어요.
This is with the pod, right?
Yes, because this has a padchim here, so we use our one with.
Okay.
We use this one. So this is without. Okay. And this one is with. Okay. 저는 먹을 수 있어요.
So I can eat?
I can eat. Good. Good, good. All right. Again, I can write, I can read, I can jump, I can sleep.
Can you write down? Chon.
Jada. So what would it become?
Chonan. There is without Chol Sulisa. Chonan. Chol Sulisa.
Good. There's no patching, so it comes here underneath. 저는 잘 수 있어요. Now, isn't it kind of interesting? Isn't it interesting how a lot of words you'll end up making like a word. If you just took this by itself, remember how I told you earlier, 잘 means well or good, right? 잘 먹어요. And if you didn't look at the context or you didn't know any of the grammar and you're just looking at it, you would just think, oh, that means well, right? But it's not, right? This means I can sleep, right? So if you're looking at books and you're just kind of looking and studying things just by like, oh, I know that word, oh, I know that word. Okay, maybe you do, maybe you see it, maybe you know it, all right? But be aware that because of the way that grammar is put together, it might not be that cut and dry, right?
Just like how bag is room and another word put together to make bag. Cause like chabang, how do you say bag? Chabang.
봉투?
No, bag. It's like something bang.
가방?
Kabang. Cause like this kabang and bang by itself means room, but
Sure.
together with something else means bag,
가방?
which is so confusing.
Or you could, yeah, just like you said, 가방, do you guys know this?
No. What's that?
Probably people who watch this later on YouTube might laugh about that. Tabang, this is, coffee shop. Okay, long time ago, coffee shop. They would call this coffee shop. Okay, nobody goes and calls this a coffee shop anymore. They're like this. Okay, this is kind of became a little different during the war times. Tabang kind of became a little more risque. Maybe they would deliver you coffee and maybe something else, right, too, right? So you kind of came a little bit different connotation later on, okay? So yeah, but
So what does it mean now?
Hmm?
What does it mean now?
it still means that. It's still a place you go get coffee. It's still a coffee shop, basically.
Oh,
And it's not just coffee, but that was what it was most famous for, right?
gotcha.
To go get some coffee, order some. Anyway, you'll see these all over Korea if you go look. It's not all of them are bad, but some of them.
So it's like going to massage and getting a happy ending type thing?
No.
Oh,
that
okay.
is-
Because I was like, you said get coffee, but something more, and I was like, was that like a massage?
No, that's a different place. That's it. All right, we good?
Yes. How would you say yes, sir, in Korean?
Yeah, you see what?
Yes, sir, in Korean.
Yes, sir.
Nah.
Who are you addressing?
Right now, you.
네 선생님. If you ever go watch the kids, they go to school, they always come in, it's really fun to watch them, they'll come in, 네 선생님. They do this kind of thing when they're like doing, whatever they have to do for this, a lot of times they have them practice, and 네 선생님, right, whenever they're talking about things. So, it's really cute, yeah, it's really cute. All right, any other questions about any of this stuff? I don't want too much longer.
So many questions. So I like watch the K-dramas, right? Because I'm trying to like learn
Mm-hmm.
the K-dramas. I get confused.